What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this situation that's going on with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. It's not just, in my opinion, it's not just the Indiana Fever, but it has to be the WNBA as a whole, right? Because I've watched, I think I watched like probably 3 games and of the Indiana Fever, and every time I watch Caitlin Clark, man, she just tearing it up, right? I can tell that she's getting more and more comfortable and more confident. Not that she had lost her confidence, but I think she kind of getting into her rhythm, right? But it seems like the Indiana Fever don't want to give Caitlin Clark her props. And the way, like I watched the game. What was the game? She played against the Sparks. She looked really good against the Sparks. Then she come out again and they play Seattle. She looked really good against Seattle. I'm trying to think, who did they play but she's still not. It just seems like that's not good enough for for the Fever. So I ran across this article. Let me pull this article up. And what it says, the WNBA Caitlin Clark controversy becomes impossible to ignore. And I have to agree. And part of the reason why it can't be ignored is because it's just so obvious, in my opinion, that they are purposely not promoting Caitlin Clark. And I don't know what it is, that they have against Caitlin Clark. For instance, I watched what's the guy, young lady, Paige Beckers, right? I watched her play. And Paige Beckers, when she first came into the league, the Dallas Wings just handed her the ball. They just gave her the keys to the car. And, she's a rookie, but whatever mistakes that she made, the team was willing to live with those mistakes. And they promoted her. This year, I'm watching the Minnesota Lynx, right? They have a rookie. What's the young lady name? Olivia Miles, the number 2 pick in the draft. She looks really good this year. They handed her the keys to the car, right? And she's not perfect. Like I say, she's a rookie. She's allowed to go through make the rookie mistakes. And the thing about that, she's playing with a coach, Cheryl Reeves. Like, she's a no-nonsense, really experienced coach. But even Cheryl Reeves is allowed excuse me, she's allowing her rookie to get out there and play and do her thing. But it's not the same with the Indiana Fever. If you look at this picture right here, like the Indiana Fever, they're promoting Raven Johnson. Now, I'm a Raven Johnson fan. I watched her when she was at South Carolina. Really good basketball player. But why not? I don't understand, why are they not promoting for this game right here? And this young lady is going to bring it up. Why not promote Caitlin Clark? Like, if she's the one who put butts in the seat, then why not go ahead and promote Caitlin Clark? So now, with that being said, I want to play the audio because this young lady right here, where are they from? Yahoo Sports Daily. She make a lot of good points, and like, these are some points that you really just can't explain away.
This is not WNBA.gov, okay? Like, this is a for-profit organization. So a smart marketing and business approach is, how do we get as many eyeballs on our product as possible? That's how we make money. That's how we sell ad dollars. That's how we sell tickets, is to get people interested in our product. That's Raven Johnson. I love Raven Johnson. She is a rising star in this league. She was a superstar at South Carolina. I think that she's going to be a future defensive player of the year in this league. Raven Johnson is not Caitlin Clark. Raven Johnson is not even Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is not the best player on that team, but Sophie Cunningham is a recognizable face, is a recognizable name. She was in the SI Swim issue, for crying out loud. She's a superstar in this league. So you want to use the names and the faces that are recognizable, even if it says something as simple as a graphic. That's what gets conversation started, positive conversation started surrounding your product. I will go even further though, because I'm not putting Caitlin Clark on anything FIFA related. I think is a miss. This matchup was Flau'jae Johnson versus Caitlin Clark. Flau'jae plays for the Storm. Flau'jae is another recognizable name. She's another recognizable face. She is
Got an entire whole music career.
She has a song with Lil Wayne. Okay, like Flau'jae Johnson is a superstar in this league. They've done a really good job. The W has in the past of promoting Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, because that was such a spark plug of a conversation in that LSU Iowa national championship game. Angel Reese pointing to the ring finger, the number one topic on First Take the next morning. You know who else was on that team? Flau'jae Johnson. Flau'jae was on that LSU team that beat Caitlin Clark in Iowa in the national championship game. So not only is it a miss to not promote Caitlin Clark, it's a miss to not promote Flau'jae versus Caitlin. Superstar versus superstar. That was the first thing that stood out to me when I was looking at the slate of games in the W. It was like, Flau'jae versus Caitlin. It's going to be great. So is this the end of the world? No. Is the WNBA going to lose millions of dollars and millions of followers because they didn't put Flau'jae and Caitlin on a graphic? Of course not. That's silly. But for a league that I think is, I would say, at a point of vulnerability in terms of its growth, it needs to figure out a way to capitalize on the growth that they've experienced, but also build on the growth that they are going to see in the future. I think any opportunity that you can get to promote your superstars is vital, and it was a miss.
I would even go a bit further than that, because I don't like, and I've said in other videos, I don't think that they want the league to grow, because it's obvious. Hold on, let me get this out of here. All right. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that the league don't want to grow. They're not interested in that. When you see Caitlin Clark on the bench arguing with assistant coaches and coaches, like after the game that she had just played, the performance that she put up, and coaches are giving, I can tell that Caitlin Clark right now, it just seems like she's getting a little bit, she's kind of frustrated about the situation. And you can't really blame her, because it's becoming obvious. Why is the matchup should have been built, like the young lady said, it should have been built Caitlin Clark versus Flau'jae, but it didn't go like that. At least Caitlin Clark should have been up there. If you don't want to put Flau'jae up there, then that's cool. But Caitlin Clark is the one who's putting the butts in the seats, and she should have been the one who should have been, on that graphic. And another thing, Stephanie White refuses to give Caitlin Clark credit, and that was pointed out to me by somebody who said, anytime you have, what's the other young lady? Kelsey Mitchell put up a great performance, Stephanie White bend over backwards to, to praise her and to give her flowers and shout her out. But these last 3 games that I watched Caitlin Clark play, she just put on an excellent performance. One of the games, I think she brought them back. Was it against the Mystics? They took, I think it was the Mystics. They took them into overtime because of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark played an excellent game. Stephanie White still didn't bring up anything about Caitlin Clark and her performance. So it's got to be something personal. I think league-wide, they don't really want this league to grow. And I've been saying this for even before Caitlin Clark came into the league. Like when Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was in college, and it was a big to-do about, that national championship game and how Angel Reese, and Caitlin Clark got into it a little bit as far as, I don't know, like the hand gestures and all that stuff. And people were saying, yeah, this is going to carry over into the WNBA. I said back then, they don't want the WNBA to grow. And that's the whole thing, because if it was important for them to grow the WNBA, then they could have done that throughout the years. It just seems like they didn't make the effort to grow the league. They were comfortable. The NBA is comfortable with like supplementing them and supporting them and keeping them at a certain level. And when Caitlin Clark came along, you know, they didn't really. She brought so much attention to the league that they had to say, well, you know, they had to make it look like, okay, yeah, now we can take this opportunity to grow. But the NBA and the WNBA, they're not interested in growth. They just want to make a certain amount of money and pay these young ladies a certain amount of money and be done with them. But it's, you know, and it got to be frustrating to basketball players in this league who are really talented and put in the work and not have the support of the league, you know. But it's obvious that they don't want to grow. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.